So, how does it feel to be British? How does it feel to know that the UK is the equivalent of California or Florida, where the age of consent is 18? The British would know that the age of consent for them is 16, but it's gone up without us having been told. Anyway, we know that the word of a retired American prostitute is worth that much more than the alibi of a prince. And this should let you know the true nature of gender relations and the status of men compared to, well, princes compared to retired American prostitutes. So how does it feel to be British? Better not to think about it, eh? Always cutting and running, always cucking and saying you'll fight. I will go on to the end. What was it that Churchill said in his... Let me just find out what Churchill said during the war. Churchill made a lot of money after the war. I think the Americans must have paid him. After all, he supported a war that allowed America to receive on a platter the global empire of the British. So he would have been rewarded handsomely. I'm sorry, my computer is so slow, but I'm just waiting for it to open up so I can read you what Churchill said about how the British are going to fight. You shouldn't use too many continental words. I'm not really that much of a French or German speaker. And of course the morons and vegetables in the chat will be completely puzzled. Can't find the one on the beaches. I did a post on my blog. In fact, I worked out the whole speech. Maybe I can find it for you without too much ado. Demode. What does that mean? Sorry about the wait. Out of fashion.
Démodé.
Démodé. Sorry about that. See, no point testing my knowledge of French and whatever. Did pass an exams in it. No longer in fashion. Outmoded. I really don't know what my computer's doing. It's so slow and everything's just taking ages. But anyway, before I forget that I was even going to talk about the subject, I was talking about, the fighting spirit, the British fighting spirit, that they obviously lost after they had the knocking, the stuffing knocked out of them after the Second World War, and now they just cut and run at every single thing. They say they're going to fight, but in the end they cut and run. So this was the gist of Churchill's speech. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight them in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. But they do. Just a little wave of the stick, a little threat, or a little bribe, and they're anyone's. And Piers Morgan, he's this news presenter, and he says it would be terrible for the monarchy if this were to go on. And I say, well, what's the point of having a monarchy? What is the point of having a monarchy that reminds you of your shame? It's over for the monarchy now. There's no point defending it because it's over. How can it possibly recover when the whole world knows that the word of a retired American prostitute, the threat of a trial is enough to convict a prince? You may say it's because Britain is, this 51st state. Well, it's official now, isn't it? Britain is being treated as if it were Florida or California. These are the two states that Virginia Giuffre lived in. And so, although it's not a crime to have sex with a 17-year-old female in the UK in 2001, it seems that after all it is if she's American, because she will be treated as if she were in her own country. And the British are just taking it. And they're gloating, and they don't think it's enough. They think something more should happen to Prince Andrew. Well, what would I do if I were him? Well, I would have refused to settle. I would have gone on to the end. That's what I would have done. I'm all for going on to the end. I've started, so I'll finish. Instead of this halfway house thing. Oh, I'll only do it if I think I'll win. Well, how do you know if you're going to win if you give up halfway through? It seems to be their preferred mode of operation. They will do something recklessly and then retire hurt. So either he shouldn't have done it at all. Well, meet this woman. We don't know if he actually had sex with her. There's been all kinds of suggestions that, well, she'd been paid anyway. She'd been paid to have sex with Andrew. Or the other version is that he didn't have sex with her at all. And he was so confident of that he went on Newsnight in 2019 to say that on the day in question he was at Pizza Express in Woking. But what does it mean for the rest of us? Particularly men. It means that Prince Andrew's capitulation will mean that those who seek financial gain through making false accusations of historic sexual offences will be emboldened and encouraged. That's what it's done. So expect more of that and expect even less justice. And today, Sarah Palin lost a libel case against the New York Times. But then, those of us who are informed about these matters will already know that the New York Times is owned by the CIA. So this is the state of affairs. Things will get worse, won't it? Since they show no signs of being corrected. Look, Gary, just fuck off and go and listen to AA, right? Just go. I don't care. What's he gonna say anyway? What's he gonna say? What has that intellectual mediocrity got to say about anything? Well, just go and hang out with your mates. At Academic Agent. They don't care what's being said, do they? He says nothing of interest. He's he's even more long-winded than me about these things. And from the sound of his voice, obviously a beta male. I seem to remember him saying that he wished he was gay. So off you go. Ralph is on, isn't he? You can go there. Yep, they're still streaming. I'll go there. I have nothing of interest to say to you, and I'll say it more briefly. These men have nothing to do other than to produce content. But I think eventually they will be singing from the same hymn sheet that I have composed. It's only a matter of time. If you want to listen to other streams, you can go and listen to Jay Dyer. He's having some sort of a debate with Protestants and Muslims. I listened for a while and I couldn't bear it anymore. Him trying to be witty and jokey and... Why do people like Jay Dyer? Is it because he's a good-looking sort of guy? Is that it? Is that it? You really are living in a matriarchy, and today's developments have confirmed this. You really can't fight back. You have to accept your lower status. You are... No, not just you, but your prince is lower in status than a retired American prostitute, and this island is in fact to be treated like Florida or California. So, yeah, we're a pretty low status country, and the men are not minded to do anything about it because, well, they're afraid of being cancelled, afraid of a frown by a woman whom they hope to fuck. What else might stop them from doing anything? They are, after all, unprincipled cowards, and they would be better off at House of Commons. What's he going to say anyway? What will Ralph say about, this idiotic discussion with Keith Woods?
Currencies you try to make it.
Values and morals.
Look at all these men. Already they're talking about, well, whatever. But no solutions at all. But that's not his intention to give you a solution. It's all about pandering to Islamophobes and Muslims, to Jews and anti-Semites. So on the one hand this, and on the other hand that. And he will never firm up his position because it wouldn't pay for him to come down firmly on one position or another. At the moment he's calling himself a Christian nationalist, but we know that Christianity is non-existent. There are no Christians. It is to be doubted that the Archbishop of Canterbury even knows the absurdity that he's expected to believe in. So this country has no moral system and no leadership. So I don't quite see why the British family... What are you saying, that there's not going to be any offshoring if there were no British family? I'm sure tax avoidance would still be, well, something, well, an operation, whether or not the British royal family existed. Yes, well, I'm sure the European aristocracy would, want a slice of the action, or whatever that's going. I'm sure they just love to be, part of anything. So Connops thinks, well, she wasn't underage, was she? She wasn't underage in the UK. Well, if British men were in touch with their Judeo-Christian heritage that they keep going on about, they would know about Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15. But no, they've set a precedent whereby men can be accused of all kinds of historic sexual offences, and they're gonna all get done. These wealthy men. Of course, a poor man is not going to be sued, but the wealthy ones, they're gonna get done, and it's ridiculous. It's contemptible, isn't it? When you see all these men, and they're afraid to even defend themselves. They're afraid. Don't defend me. I want this story to be over. Don't defend me. I'll just quite quietly slink away. And if you defend me, the story will just keep running. So you better stop. Don't even defend me. I'll take my punishment. That's how it is, isn't it? These cowardly, frightened, feminized, infantilized men. No wonder their women hate them. No wonder their women want to vote for pro-immigration parties, because they hope that better quality men will enter their country if they vote for more pro-immigration parties with more pro-immigration policies. It's laughable, isn't it? This white genocide thing. They pretend it's the Jews. But it's really the hatred of each other, the hatred of Western man for Western woman. Even if a woman of his own race could be found to marry him, he wouldn't want to do it. He'd rather wank to porn or be gay. He wouldn't want to pay for a woman and her children. Of course not. And that's why Western civilization, as we know it, will soon be over. I can always catch up on the Ralph stream. But this is all I wanted to say. I won't keep you too long. I just wanted to share my feelings about Prince Andrew and my predictions of the future. So off you go. Enjoy yourselves at Ralph's. Bye-bye.